Last year, Hell in a Cell was on my birthday. And Hell in a Cell last year single-handedly ruined my birthday last year. I think you all remember that show. That was a very eventful night. We had a lot of people joining that night. And that was not a fun end to that pay-per-view. This year, I was wondering what's going to happen. How is this show going to go off the air? We've had 2 years in a row of bullshit, nonsensical finishes at Hell in a Cell, right? Going back to the no contest with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman that we had back in 2018. And then last year, that whole debacle with Seth Rollins and The Fiend, and I hate to even bring that up again. So I was hoping that we would actually get a sensible finish, a clean finish. Or were we going to get 3 years in a row of garbage? And I'm happy to say that we actually got a clean finish to close out the show tonight. And unfortunately, it was the wrong match to close out the show. I don't believe that is the match that should have ended the pay-per-view tonight. We'll get into which match I thought should have closed. This is your WWE Hell in a Cell review 2020 here for October 25th. I am the Solomonster, and thank you for choosing me for your Hell in a Cell coverage tonight. Please smash that like button if you would be so kind. And if you are new here, subscribe. Turn on notifications. Super chats are going to be popping up on your screen as we go along here, and I will read them all. I promise. I read everyone who donates super chat, comments, questions. Now is the time to do so. You'll find special amounts in the description down below. And we're also, of course, as I know many of you know, because some of you are here for that purpose, we are doing something very special a little bit later on in the stream, and that is the WrestleRumble.com Killer Belt Giveaway. I have the honor of doing the live drawing here on the stream tonight. I'm going to be picking 4 prize winners at random, live here on the air tonight on YouTube. I'm giving away some titles, giving away some custom Jason Voorhees masks in the spirit of Halloween. The live drawing is going to be coming up in just a little bit, and I'm going to have an announcement about next month's contest as well. You will not hear that anywhere else because I'm breaking it here tonight for the first time. So believe me, you are not going to want to miss that. And again, thank you to everybody who is filtering on into the chat and joining us. Hopefully everything looks good and sounds good. It's all systems go. So let's get into it. The kickoff show. The pre-show match was R-Truth defending his 24/7 title. I know you're all very excited about this. I think this may have been the first time they've actually announced the 24/7 title match in advance. Usually it's just some random skit, some random segment on the show. They actually, a few hours before they announced it, like it was a big deal. Like it was going to entice people to actually buy the pay-per-view or order the network. However it is that people watch the show these days. Are there still people who watch this on pay-per-view? Please tell me that's not the case. Please tell me we still don't have people paying $50 for this show. At least with the AEW shows. I mean, I'm not thrilled about it because I'm so used to paying $10 and getting it on the network, but at least it's 4 times a year. Are there people paying $50 a month, 12 times a year for these WWE shows? I hope not. I don't think this match enticed a single person to watch this show here tonight. It was the usual comedy. R-Truth used some, and I like R-Truth. That's the thing. I mean, I like R-Truth, but I'm over the whole 24/7 thing. R-Truth used some of his old idol, John Cena. He looks up to John Cena. He idolizes this man. He was using some of the John Cena spots here in this match. Drew Gulak was his opponent. Gulak went for a roll-up, and Truth countered into a jackknife pin for the win. When the match was over, we had the Ninja Warrior himself. Akira Tozawa came out. Lince Dorado came out. Grand Metalik. He came out. They ran out to chase after the 24/7 title. And you know what? It sucks for Lince, and it sucks for Grand Metalik. I mean, look, what would they be doing anyway, I guess? It's not as if they were in some prime position. But they did have some real estate on SmackDown for a few months. This angle that was unfolding, right? Tension in the ranks of the Lucha House Party with them and Kalisto. And then they just put them on different brands. And I mean, they're probably not going to do anything with Kalisto either. But yeah, Grand Metalik was wrestling for the Intercontinental title just a few months ago on Fox. And here he is now. Apparently, this is going to be his whole purpose on the show now, is to chase after the 24/7 title. Traded to Raw just to chase after the 24/7 title. I can't think of a worse fate. Mustafa Ali was backstage with Retribution. Can't even say that name with a straight face, but I'll try. I'll try to keep a straight face. Mustafa Ali challenged MVP to put up any member of the Hurt Business one-on-one against any member of Retribution on the pay-per-view in a singles match. The gauntlet was laid down. The challenge was issued. Again, very enticing. The pay-per-view opened. It opened hot with the Universal title on the line. Hell in a Cell I Quit match. Jey Uso challenging the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns. They opened the show with this. I don't think anybody predicted they would open the show with this. Roman Reigns came into tonight undefeated in Hell in a Cell matches. Even though he went to a no contest a couple of years ago with Braun Strowman. Didn't look like much of a winner that night. But he has yet to be beaten in a Hell in a Cell match. And I can tell you that coming out of the show tonight, well, you can probably figure out whether or not that undefeated streak is still intact. He came to the ring with a gold-colored glove on his, I think his right hand. He had a gold glove on his right hand looking like Thanos. Looked pretty cool. And Roman Reigns almost immediately, within the first minute and a half, hits a spear to Jey Uso. This entire match, if you want to know how this match played out on the show, this match played out much the same way the match at Clash of Champions played out. It was a good match, but it wasn't even so much about the match. It wasn't even so much about the action and the moves. This entire feud, this entire story has been built on storytelling. And if you are not into the story that they're telling, then you didn't like this match, and you didn't like the match at Clash of Champions. But if you are into the story, if you are into all of the family drama that's been playing out on TV, if you're like me, then you probably thought this was excellent. This was another masterclass in pro wrestling storytelling here tonight. Roman hits the spear, but there's no pins, right? I quit match, no pins, no submissions. So you have to say I quit. Roman tells him in a few minutes, you're going to wish that you never came here. We had a lot of Roman Reigns trash talking, some from Jey Uso as well. One of the benefits of being in this empty arena setting is the fact that you can pick up, they can mic these guys in a way where you can actually hear what they're saying. They can talk smack and you pick up on every word. You wouldn't be able to do that in a building with 10,000 people or 15,000 people. So it works for the Roman Reigns matches that he's been having. It absolutely works. Hits a second spear. Tells Jey Uso, I will end you. I'm going to end you. Third spear attempt. Jey kicks him though, super kick. Goes up top, comes off with a Samoan splash. Jey hits a second splash. Referee is asking Roman if he wants to quit. I mean, come on. I mean, is this guy new? Can you imagine Roman Reigns quitting after a Superfly splash off the top rope? This referee was the most annoying goddamn guy this entire match. And I understand he's just doing his job. This entire match, Jey, do you give up? Roman, Jey, do you give up? Jey, do you give? I'm like, shut up already. Somebody gagged this guy. I was begging Roman Reigns to knock this referee out. When he threw him out of the ring towards the end of the match, I popped. Sick of this guy. Roman Reigns says the head of the table never quits. So, of course, Roman Reigns was not going to give up. This guy is a fool. He's a fool for even asking. So Uso pulled a leather strap out from underneath the ring, and he tells Roman Reigns, I'm going to whip the dog shit out of you. And he begins to whip Roman Reigns 3 times. He whips him with the strap. In the middle of all this, Roman, though, he busts out a third spear. So he hits Jey Uso with a third spear. And Jey starts shouting that he can't breathe, right? Because he's taken 3 of these now. So he's saying that he can't breathe. And now Roman has the strap. He's going to make Uso pay. He goes, I do the whipping around here. And Roman ends up tying his wrist to one end. He ties Jey's wrist to the other end. And so all of a sudden, we witnessed history tonight. I said this on Twitter during the match. We witnessed history tonight here on the show. Because not only did we get the first ever I Quit match inside Hell in a Cell, we got the first ever I Quit leather strap match inside Hell in a Cell. You talk about shoving as many stipulations as you can into one match. I mean, this was a Russo special here on this show. I Quit leather strap Hell in a Cell match, no DQ, right? You may as well throw that in there. It was no DQ. Every stipulation that you could think of. So, actually, somebody on Twitter did mention this. Who is it? Trippin' Balls, yes. Shout out to Trippin' Balls on Twitter. He follows me. But he said that it reminded him of the Loser Leaves Town Coal Miner's Glove Steel Cage Tuxedo match from Mid-South Wrestling. I think that was Ted DiBiase and Jim Duggan, if I'm not mistaken. I will say that still takes the cake. That's a mouthful. That still takes the cake, but they were getting close. With the stipulations here on this show, they were getting close. So Jey made a comeback. He wraps the strap around Roman's throat, which is something we haven't seen on WWE. Well, I guess we haven't seen it since WrestleMania. When Randy Orton tried to choke out Edge, and there was a whole big controversy about that. It's not often that you see people getting choked. I used to see like the cameramans, like the camera cord wrapped around people's throats. You don't see that anymore. Ever since He Who Shall Not Be Named. We just don't see that kind of thing anymore, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, Reigns was selling this like he was unconscious, and I actually thought this was great because at one point it looked like he was totally out and the referee was about to call for the bell. And so for a brief moment there, even though I didn't believe for a second that Roman was going to lose this championship, for a split second there, they had me thinking that they might have a ref stoppage here in this match. But then Roman, all of a sudden, he came alive. He woke up and started moving. Superman punch, and then Roman locks on the guillotine. Same move he used to beat Braun Strowman on TV a couple of weeks ago. Jey goes out, Roman lets go, and the referee wants to know, do you quit? Keep saying it over and over again. Do you quit? Jey, do you quit? But he's out of it. He's not saying anything. The referee tells Roman he won't say it. He's got to say the words, I quit. Says Jey won't say it. He won't say the words. And we've got the referee is still asking him. He's not answering. So Roman grabs the ring steps. He grabs hold of the ring steps. And he slides them over by Jey's head. Okay, so Jey Uso's head is on the apron. Puts the ring steps right next to his head. He had already hit one drive-by. He wouldn't give up. So he does another drive-by into the steps, steps into the head, head into the ring post. And now Jey Uso, of course, he wasn't saying anything before, so he's not going to say anything now either. Referee's asking him, do you quit? Do you quit? He wouldn't shut up. This brought out Adam Pearce, Pat Buck, Jamie Noble, a whole host of referees. I thought this is where the match was going to end. They're trying to stop Roman. It's as if the match is over. I thought the referee had already stopped it. Apparently not. Roman brought the ring steps into the ring. He tossed them in. He couldn't quite get them in the first time, but he got them in the second time. So he's got the steps over Jey. He's basically holding him down, and now Roman is just talking all kinds of smack to him. And he picks up the steps. He's ready to bash this guy's brains in. And who should run down? Because remember, the door was open when all the officials came in. So the door to the cell is open. And who should come running into the ring to shield his brother and to protect his brother but Jimmy Uso. So Jimmy Uso runs down. And this is where things got real. Because he's using Jey Uso's shoot name. He's saying to Roman, what's wrong with you? This is Josh. I'm like, who the fuck is Josh? I looked it up. Sure enough, Jey Uso, his real name is Josh. So he's like, this is Josh. What are you doing, man? And Roman puts the steps down. Roman sits down in the middle of the ring. And Roman Reigns begins to cry Roman Reigns begins to sob like a baby. He gets the red eyes. Actual salty discharge is coming out of his eye sockets. This man is putting on an Academy Award-winning performance. Here in this match, either that or he bit his tongue. I've done that before. I know that sucks. But he's got the waterworks going. Maybe he's got hay fever. You know, he's getting an allergic reaction. Who knows? But it seems like Roman is having second thoughts. And Roman says, man, I'm sorry. It's like he's like talking to himself. What's gotten into me? And so he you know, he's basically like shaking hands with Jimmy. Jimmy's like, it's going to be okay, Oos. It's going to be okay. But all he was doing was lulling him into a false sense of security. Roman locks the guillotine on Jimmy. And they had this great shot. They had this great shot of Jimmy Uso locked in this guillotine. And he's holding on to his brother's hand. So his brother and Jimmy, their hands are locked. Jimmy's still out of it. Or Jay is still out of it. But it was just this great camera shot. We don't get too many of those in WWE anymore because the production is awful on these shows. But I thought that was a great shot. And slowly but surely, Jimmy is going out. Jay is kind of coming out of it. And in order to try to get Roman to let go of his brother, Jay does the one thing he said he would not do. He quits. Jay Uso says, I quit. He does so to save his brother. I'm telling you, man, give that man an Oscar. Got the red eyes and everything. And as soon as the match was over, as soon as Roman got what he wanted, it all went away. And it was just right back to being Roman Reigns. So I thought he was fantastic here. He got what he wanted, right? He's the tribal chief. He got what he wanted. And they have a shot of the stage. And who is on stage as Roman is approaching to greet them? The Wild Samoans. We got a Wild Samoans reunion. We had Roman's father, Sika, and Afa, who lost a lot of weight. Well, I mean, he lost a lot of weight years ago, but I don't know. How old is Afa? Afa's got to be up there. But there they were, reunited on TV, the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika, and they put one of these Samoan leis on Roman, and Roman stands there, the tribal chief, celebrating with the Universal Championship. This is the best storytelling that WWE has done in years and years. Cannot say enough good things about this story. Honestly, the stuff with Roman and Jey Uso has been some of the best WWE television all year. And I know this hasn't been the best year of WWE programming, so the bar is not that high. But best storyline, best segments on any of their TV shows, I think all year, have come out of this storyline, have come out of this program. They went 30 minutes. Did the match drag in the middle? Yes, it did. There were a few minutes there where even I was like, all right, they should probably end this. It was dragging a little bit, but it all served a purpose in the end. It finished strong. It all served a purpose. There was no ref stoppage. There was no bullshit, like really bullshit finish here. It worked. It made sense. It played into the story. Roman Reigns got Jey Uso to quit, and I loved it. And it really does seem, I got to tell you, with everything, they're really going in hard on this whole family angle. It really does seem like they're hoping that they get a match with The Rock at WrestleMania, that they can get The Rock to sign on for a match at WrestleMania with Roman Reigns, so that could be their big marquee match. It's like it all comes down to Rock's schedule. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's all going to fall apart if they're banking on that. If they can get some kind of guarantee that Rock is going to be there, that's the biggest possible match you could do with Roman Reigns. It is the biggest match that you could possibly do, bigger than Goldberg, bigger than Brock Lesnar, would be Roman Reigns against The Rock. And the great part about it is it's not just bringing in the old guy because you want to, pop a big number. It fits the story perfectly. Because when you think of that Samoan family, what is the biggest name that you think of? It's The Rock. And now you've got Roman Reigns going around talking about, I'm the head of the table. I'm the chief. It's me, me, me. And the story just sells itself. But it really all boils down to The Rock's schedule. I'd love to see it. I just don't know how practical it's going to be. Saki Tumble says Afa is 77. Okay, well, 77 years old. And someone said Rock is pushing 50. Look, Rock was younger than he, by a number of years. Rock was a lot younger in 2012 when he came back and wrestled John Cena. And even then, I mean, he got hurt. The first match with Cena in Miami, I think he tore his hamstring. The second match at WrestleMania, when he dropped the belt to Cena, The Rock just fell apart. I mean, the injuries coming out of that second match were ridiculous, and it delayed the filming of, I think, was it The Game Plan, or whatever movie it was that he was filming. I don't think it was The Game Plan. It was something else, maybe Hercules. But in that second match, he tore his adductor muscle, he tore this muscle, he tore that. And so you're right, Rock now is 8, going on 9 years older than he was then. I'm not saying it's a great idea, but I'm saying if you can construct a match that is as safe can be, it would still be the biggest match that you could do for Roman Reigns or WrestleMania. So, Jeff Hardy and Elias had the misfortune of having to follow all this, because this was a great open to this pay-per-view. I mean, you couldn't open this pay-per-view in a better way. And then these two guys have to come out here and follow that. So Elias came out, he was singing a song about, all I remember is he was singing a song about Jeff Hardy and DUI. They can't help themselves. This company cannot help themselves. They cannot get off this fact. Yes, we know. We know Jeff Hardy has a problem. And we know this. Jeff Hardy is an addict. But they can't let go. They have to incorporate it into every storyline that he's in. So he's singing about Jeff Hardy and DUI. And I got to tell you, if this is a preview of the new album that he's got coming out tomorrow, I think I'll pass. Elias has a new album dropping tomorrow. It's called Universal Truth. Universal being one of the many titles that Elias will never hold. This entire feud is based off of Elias, in storyline, Elias's foolish belief. Elias may be the only man on the planet who believes that Jeff Hardy was the one who hit him with his car 5 months ago. There isn't anybody else on the planet, or even in their little universe, I think, who actually believes that Jeff Hardy was behind the wheel, except Elias, because the guy is a fucking moron. And that is the whole premise of this feud. He blames Jeff Hardy for hitting him with his car. So they have this match. It isn't much of a match. It went a few minutes. Elias avoided a twist of fate. He had Hardy up in the position for an electric chair, spun him around, a little clunky, but he spun him around and gave him a powerbomb for a near fall. Jeff came back, hit the Whisper in the Wind, and hit the Twist of Fate. So now Jeff is going up top. For the Swanton Bomb, Elias rolls out under the bottom rope. He's on the apron. And Jeff now climbs to the top of the post and is teasing that he's going to do a Swanton Bomb on the apron. He's going to pull like a Darby Allin here. I mean, I guess he's pulling a Jeff Hardy, but I'm so used to seeing Darby Allin take stupid bumps like that now. And Jeff Hardy's a lot older than Darby Allin, so thankfully, he did not do it. Elias rolled out to the floor. Jeff jumped down. Thank God. As he's walking over to Elias, though, Elias had grabbed the guitar, and he was going to use it. Jeff cut him off. He took the guitar, and he smashed it over Elias's back for the disqualification. So that was a lame finish, and unfortunately, it means that this feud is going to continue on. It is going to continue on for yet another match. I don't care about any of this. I suppose it's a fine little undercard feud, but I just can't get over the stupidity, of what this is based on. Elias is an idiot. He is the only person who believes that Jeff Hardy was the one behind the wheel. And he is now on the same brand with the man who was behind the wheel, most likely. Sheamus was traded from SmackDown to Raw, but because Elias has to be a heel, he has to play dumb. I just think this whole thing is stupid. But you guys aren't stupid because you're joining me tonight. And I thank you for it. And we have a whole bunch of super chats coming in, and I'm going to read every single one of them. So if you want to get your super chats in, that is the best way, the most direct way to support the channel. And I do appreciate it. I sure do appreciate it. And hit that like button as well. We got a big contest coming up here in just a few minutes. But first, we got to talk about Mr. Money in the Bank. We got to talk about Otis. Otis, who won the Money in the Bank briefcase back in, I guess it was May, right? They had the Money in the Bank pay-per-view back in May. And it seems like WWE has not had a clue what to do. Ever since they put the briefcase on him, it's like, oh, shit. Well, we don't have an exit strategy here. We don't have a way out of this. How can we get this briefcase away from this guy? And it sure would be nice when they put the briefcase on somebody like they did with Asuka, although those were unique circumstances this year. She was basically made the champion the next night. But it would be nice to know that they actually have some kind of thought in mind for where they might go, and not just put it on someone who really was treated as an undercard comedy character. I don't think that's how the Money in the Bank concept should be treated. I think it undermines the Money in the Bank concept. But Otis has had the briefcase now for a number of months, and all these Law and Otis skits that played out on TV on Friday night, which I thought were entertaining, but it all leads to The Miz challenging Otis for the briefcase. Otis has new theme music that I actually think suits him better than his old music, and I don't say that very often about some of these new songs. I think a lot of the new songs that we've heard are very generic. They're just not that good. And don't get me started on Keith Lee. Thankfully, Keith Lee was in studio laying down vocals for some new music that he'll be getting soon. But I actually thought Otis's new theme suits him very well. At one point during this match, there wasn't much to the match, but at one point during the match, Miz caught Otis with a standing boot to the face. And The Miz is not known for his hard-hitting offense. The Miz is not known for working stiff or being overly intimidating when it comes to his offense in the ring. He got him with this boot in the face, and it looked great. He caught him flush right in the face and knocked this guy down on his ass. And again, I don't say that very often about the Miz's offense, but I will give him props for that boot. I did think that was a cool move. So the Miz went for the it kicks, the yes kicks, call them whatever you want. And that only fired up Otis. He hulked up. He made a comeback. And he went for the Caterpillar. John Morrison was out there. He dragged Miz outside the ring. Morrison tried to, a minute later, he tried to strike Otis behind the referee's back with the briefcase. So he took the Money in the Bank. He got up on the apron. Otis was in the corner. And Morrison is coming in, and he's going to strike him with the briefcase. And at the last second, the referee, Jessica Carr, she turns around, and she spots Morrison and says, "What are you doing?" And Morrison says, "Oh, well, I was just handing it to him. I was just giving it to him." And she throws Morrison out. So he puts the briefcase down. John Morrison leaves. Otis catches Miz with a discus clothesline. And he got a very close near fall out of that. And then came the big shocking moment here in this match. This was the big shocking moment, which was Otis goes to hit the ropes. And as he is approaching the ropes, Tucker picks up the Money in the Bank briefcase and he waylays his partner, his brother, his best friend. He waffles Otis with the briefcase. And Otis goes down. The Miz is in shock. The Miz can't believe what he just saw. He covers Otis to win the briefcase. And for the first time in a decade, The Miz is once again the Money in the Bank contract holder for the second time in his career. The first time The Miz cashed in Money in the Bank was 10 years ago, right around this time. It's actually about a month from now. But it was a decade ago. And it was against Randy Orton. He cashed in and won the WWE Championship. Not only did he cash in against Randy Orton, it was in Orlando. The same city they were in tonight. How eerie is that? So it made you think at this point in the show, not knowing how the main event was going to play out, might history repeat itself? And obviously that could still happen. It is still a possibility. That could still happen. So I love how Tucker turns on Otis, and they're on separate brands. Tucker is on Raw. Otis is on SmackDown. By the way, I didn't mention this on the podcast earlier today. And if you did not listen to the podcast, by the way, the full podcast, Solomonster Sounds Off, go up every Sunday on all the major podcast platforms. So, hint, hint, go check it out. We covered a lot of ground this week. But one thing I did not mention is that Tucker was giving an interview. And he was asked, when did you find out about this split? Like they were going to split you guys up. Did they give you a heads up? Did they tell you a week in advance, a few days in advance? Not only do they not give him a heads up, and they usually don't. Like, a lot of people just don't know what's going to happen until the day of or right, a couple days before. This poor bastard. They have all the rounds of the draft, right? And then they had Raw Talk. And the guests on Raw Talk was it Raw Talk or Talking Smack? I think it was Raw Talk. Heavy Machinery. They found out live on the Raw Talk show that they were being broken up. When the news was broken to all of us live on TV, that's when Otis and Tucker found out that they were being split. And clearly, you can hear him talking about it. It broke his heart. I mean, clearly he wasn't very happy about that. I just think, man, that fucking sucks. Can you not at least give these people a heads up? I guess maybe they're going for their real reaction, but these are guys that are used to working together and traveling on the road together, and it's less of an issue now because all of these shows are in Orlando. They're not really traveling anywhere. They might start soon, possibly traveling to other cities, but, I mean, they did that shit with Jim Ross years ago when Jim Ross found out he was being drafted to SmackDown. They got a nice close-up shot of his face, didn't tell him anything beforehand. Actually, they did. They said that the announcers were safe. And then they moved him to another show anyway. That's when he lost his gig on Monday Night Raw. Some of the people who work for this company are just pieces of fucking garbage. I mean, the way they treat these people is just ridiculous. But yes, now they're on separate brands. And he cut a promo, did Tucker backstage. I thought he cut a pretty good promo. This was Tucker's first promo since turning on his tag team partner. He says, "We were supposed to be a team. I was the workhorse. And for what? So I could always be an afterthought. Otis can't function without me. Who gave him the confidence to ask Mandy Rose out? He said, I did. That was me. Who's always been there for him? Me." Otis at this point comes charging towards him in the back. They start brawling. Officials come and break them up. Now, we have Survivor Series coming up. That is the next pay-per-view next month. Typically, the theme for Survivor Series has been Raw versus SmackDown. Now, the theme for Survivor Series this year is going to be the 30-year anniversary of The Undertaker. We saw that with a commercial they aired on this pay-per-view tonight. I assume they're going to maintain the Raw versus SmackDown concept, so if they do, that could be their way of doing this match. I guess they could have the match there. I still think this is a mistake. I think it was very premature to break these guys up at a time when they desperately need tag teams. Not makeshift teams, real tag teams. They don't have that many of them, at least not on the main roster. And to split these guys up, they still hadn't won the tag team titles. They did the same thing with Cass and Enzo. Big Cass and Enzo Amore, they broke them up too soon. I don't know what it is. This company, it's like they have trouble keeping teams together for long enough to actually kind of get everything out of them that they can, and then break them up. They just can't help themselves because they really don't prioritize tag team wrestling. They haven't for a very long time. And I don't know what their future... I don't know that their futures are all that bright on their own. Tucker may get a shot, but does anybody actually think that Tucker is going to end up in some kind of prime position on his own? I don't. So I think that this is going to be looked at it. I think people are already looking at it as a mistake, but I think we're going to look back on it and realize that this was a big mistake. And then we got the best match on the entire show. Sasha Banks challenging Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship, the match that should have closed out this show tonight. Now that the show is over and we see what they did in the main event, I can safely say that this match should have closed out the show. Today marked 380 days for Bayley as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And as we look back on her reign as champion, I have to give her all the props in the world because it's a role that she grew into. I never thought they would keep the belt on her this long. But what happened is when the pandemic hit and we had all of these empty arena shows, I mean, really, before anybody was allowed, even friends and family, or we had the Thunderdome crowd, it was just the Performance Center. Bayley was one of the performers who shined on those pandemic shows because she was coming out and she was going off on Michael Cole and being all sarcastic, and she would berate him every week and just making comments in general kind of like what Roman Reigns is doing now, where we can hear her, and she was able to show more of her personality, and she got more comfortable as a heel. And I thought that she was very entertaining. She just kind of grew into the role, and I thought that she had a tremendous run as the SmackDown Women's Champion. So I think you got to look back and really give her a lot of credit, because she turned what I didn't think was going to be a very eventful run and turned it into one that's going to be remembered, I think, for a very long time. So these women were going after each other, right out of the gate. This was, they took advantage of this stipulation. These were two women who have, they're best friends, but they've worked together before. We know they have great chemistry. This is a match that has been in the works for a very long time, and I think they've been waiting for this match. They knew the position that they were in, and they were going to take full advantage of all the toys and all the smoke and mirrors and the weapons and everything. There was a running Meteora outside to Bayley. This was one of the highlights of the match. Sasha had Bayley. Love that super chat. That look on the Undertaker's face could, literally most weeks of Raw. That look on his face could represent anything. The booking of Retribution, Monday Night Raw. Yeah, one of my favorite super chats right there. Disgusted Undertaker. Now let's see how many of you remember what that's from. What was the Undertaker disgusted by in that segment? I want to see how many of you remember. But one of the highlights of this match, she had Bayley propped up against the cell outside with a table. So the table was kind of sloped. And Sasha backs up and she gets a running start, and she basically almost uses the table as a ramp and runs up the table and hits like a flying Meteora. It's one of the coolest Meteoras I've ever seen her use. There was another one off the top rope that got her a near fall. So Bayley took over a few minutes later, has Sasha outside the ring, and she catapults Sasha throat first into a pair of kendo sticks that were laid across. They were wedged between the holes in the cell and the little tiny holes in the ring steps. And remember, Sasha had the neck injury, so they were playing off the storyline neck injury by doing that. I'm very impressed. People in the chat do remember. It was the spot where he drank. Tommy Dreamer drank, and this was legit too. He drank a cup of the Undertaker's chew. The Undertaker's chewing tobacco. I'm gonna vomit just thinking about it. And he drank it. Ugh. But that was during that phase where Tommy Dreamer was like, he was using like a dirty toothbrush. He was doing some sick shit. I guess it was the sort of stuff he would do in the back to like pop some of the boys. But he drank the Undertaker's... I don't even want to... That look on the Undertaker's face was a shoot. That look on the Undertaker's face was legit. I get sick just thinking about it. There was a running sunset powerbomb by Bayley that sent Sasha headfirst, the back of her head right into a steel chair that was wedged in between the ropes. These women were bringing it. I was worried for both of them, but I'm always worried about Sasha Banks because she's so tiny, and she just goes out there. I still have memories when she did that dive through the ropes in that match on Raw with Asuka, and I think her feet got caught like in the middle rope when she went to dive out, and she just did like a header, and I thought she broke her neck. And I could think of probably like half a dozen different spots like that with Sasha. She gives it her all, but I think she does so, kind of at her own expense sometimes. But these women were bringing it here in this match. A lot of cool spots here. There was a backstabber by Sasha into the bank statement. Bayley escapes, catches Sasha up in the ring skirt. So Bayley gets out of the bank statement, scurries out of the ring, and Sasha's kind of going after her, but she gets Sasha caught up in the ring skirt. So she's caught up in the ring skirt. She can't go anywhere. She's ramming Sasha face first into the steel ring beams underneath the ring skirt, underneath the ring. She rams her face first. And now Sasha is just hanging. She's like dangling on the side of the ring. Bayley grabs a kendo stick. She starts whacking her across the back with it. Bayley grabs more kendo sticks. Now this, I don't know what the hell this was about. She grabs more kendo sticks and she grabs duct tape. And she begins to build some sort of contraption. I don't know if she thought for a second that she was cast in the new Home Alone movie. I don't know what she was trying to do. I don't know that she knows what she was trying to do. Michael Cole was making fun of her on commentary. Like, I don't know what she just did. I don't know what she built. It was like the sticks were like intersecting and it was taped in the middle. It looked like something that like a little kid, like, Macaulay Culkin would set up in Home Alone that the bad guys would trip over. It never came into play, I don't think. I don't think it was ever touched after that. I think she kind of just gave up. So as good as Bayley is in the ring as a wrestler, I don't think she has much of a career as an engineer or an architect. So she wasted so much time building this pointless contraption that when she goes to grab Sasha, Sasha blinds her with the fire extinguisher, sprays her right in the face. Sasha grabs another kendo stick, beats on Bayley with it, goes for a frog splash. Bayley pulled a chair on top of herself, so Sasha landed on the chair. Now both women are down. Bayley sets up 2 chairs in the ring, opposite one another, and she sets a ladder up across the chairs. She lays Sasha on the ladder, and she spray paints something, NWO, whatever it was. It'd be kind of funny if she did. Spray paints something across Sasha, and climbs up to the middle rope with a chair. She's going to come off with the chair and land on Sasha. Sasha rolls off the ladder. Bayley misses. Sasha hits another Meteora. She used the ladder that was set up across the chairs. She kind of stepped off the ladder, hit another Meteora. And I thought the table one was cooler. And then she hits a belly to Bayley on the ladder. So she just kind of flings Bayley. Bayley goes splat on the ladder, got a near fall out of that. And Bayley came back, hit a belly to Bayley of her own for a near fall. And then came the finish. Very clever finish here. She picked up the chair and she hit Sasha with it. And she went to go perform that like headlock driver finish. I forgot the name of it, but the headlock driver to Sasha on the chair. Sasha is able to avoid it, and she ends up driving Bayley into the chair. She wraps the chair around Bayley's head, and she locks her in the bank statement. So she's got her in the bank statement. The chair is around Bayley's neck. And as she's wrenching back, Sasha with her feet is stomping on the chair. That's a callback to their match in Brooklyn when Bayley had the bad hand, the broken hand, and she was reaching for the ropes, and Sasha was stomping on the hand. It's a great spot. Never actually connected with the hand if you go back and watch it, but it looked great. It's this great visual on. I was in the building that night, so I couldn't see it up close, but that was a callback, I think, to that match. She's stomping on the chair. She's trying to break this woman's neck, and Bayley has no choice but to tap out. And with that, Sasha Banks wins her very first SmackDown Women's Championship. An excellent match to add to the list of excellent matches that these two have had already in the past. And the best women's match that I think we've ever had inside Hell in a Cell. Now, there haven't been that many of them. There have been maybe, 3 maybe? Maybe there have been 3 other women's Hell in a Cell matches. I think all of them may have actually had Sasha Banks in them. I mean, she had the match with Charlotte, the one with Becky, and that might have been it. Unless I'm missing one. I think that might have actually been it. The one that she had with Becky last year, I thought was excellent. That was actually the only redeeming thing on that pay-per-view last year. Everybody talks about the horrendous finish. People forget that that show opened with an excellent match inside the cell between Becky and Sasha. And she now adds this one to her resume. The match with Sasha and Bayley in Brooklyn is still better. I mean, that's still the best match they ever had. That hasn't changed. But this was excellent. And they, I thought, made great use of the cell. One thing that I never need to see again, and this really hit me in this match, are the use of kendo sticks in WWE. WWE, for whatever reason, it feels like this year, and not just the Dominic Mysterio and Rollins and Murphy stuff, although that, I mean, they overdid it there too, but they love their kendo sticks. WWE has this unhealthy obsession with kendo sticks. I mean, more than chairs and tables even. The fucking kendo sticks. And so we had a whole bunch of them, right, in the opener. And then here in this match, I lost count of how many freaking kendo sticks were used. We need a 6-month moratorium in this company on the use of kendo sticks. They gotta cool it with all the kendo shit here in these matches. It's played out. So that really hit me like a ton of bricks in this match. So now the story coming out of this has to be, can Sasha Banks hold on to her championship, right? Isn't that the natural story, I would think, coming out of this match? She has not had a lot of success in the past in her first title defense. She's had 5 Raw women's titles on the main roster. Okay, forget her title run in NXT. Sasha Banks has been a Raw women's champion 5 different times. The longest reign out of all 5 that she had was just over a month, 34 days. The shortest one was about a week. 34 days in 5 title reigns. That is the longest reign. Bayley just wrapped up a 380-day reign. Sasha couldn't get over 34. She couldn't get past 34 days. So the story is that she chokes. When it comes time to defend her title, she chokes. And that, to me, is the natural story. If they want to have the rematch with her and Bayley, maybe it's Survivor Series. But now the march can begin to a fresh match. A match that I would save for WrestleMania. Sasha Banks defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. I want that to be the WrestleMania match for the SmackDown Women's title. Bianca Belair is going to be a multi-time champion when all is said and done. But that is a fresh direction to go in. The timing is perfect. Bianca just got traded to SmackDown. They're doing these great videos for her, right? I mean, they're finally building her up the proper way. On Raw, she was just kind of forgotten about. You got plenty of months to build this woman up. It's only October. You build her up November, December, January. By the time you get to WrestleMania, she's ready. And that, I think, should be the match of WrestleMania for that championship. Chris Quillman with the 10 spot. He enjoyed the pay-per-view on the whole, but thought that first match really showed off how great all 3 of those guys are at what they do. Viking Politics. Thank you for the super chat. Damage Goods. Looking forward to hearing your reaction. Thank you, Damage Goods. And Naif Alsafar. What's going on, Naif? Thank you for the support. And Rafael Monegro. Where can I get the Michael Myers shirt? Oh, this Michael Myers shirt? This one here? You can't see it, but unfortunately, I don't think they sell it anymore. Just search Creepy Company. I think it's like creepycompany.com or something. That's where I got this from. I don't think they have this one anymore, but they have some other cool shirts up there. I just figured, I'm not gonna. Michael Myers' body is all down the side of the shirt with the house in the background. It's pretty cool shit. This is like a baseball shirt. That's the material it is. But yeah, Creepy Company, I think, is the website where I got it from. But thank you. I'm glad you like it. And Alex Jimenez, did you like the Rocky movies? And if so, which one was your favorite? I did like the Rocky movies. Not really a fan of the one with Tommy Gunn. The one that I always think of, people might say the original, but I'm kind of partial to part 4. Ivan Drago. That's probably my favorite one, honestly, out of all of them. So I mentioned earlier that Mustafa Ali had issued a challenge, right, to the Hurt Business. And the Hurt Business chose Slapjack as their opponent here on this show for a United States Championship match against Bobby Lashley. Now, if you thought that old Slapdick actually had a chance, if you thought Slapdick had a chance of beating Bobby Lashley and becoming the United States Champion, you should put a bag over your head and join Retribution. Come on. Use your head. Use your head, people. He got some offense in. I will say, old Slapdick did get some offense in here in this match. Not much. The match went about 2.5 minutes. Lashley mostly dominated him, and he put him in the Hurt Lock, got him to tap out. Retribution, as soon as he tapped out, the match is over. Here comes Retribution. They come running into the ring, and they gang up on Lashley. Now, the Hurt Business did come out to assist Lashley. He didn't need him. Before the Hurt Business even got down to the ring, before MVP came out and Shelton Benjamin came out and Cedric came out, Bobby Lashley was making his own comeback. He was beating these guys off all on his own. He didn't need anybody else's help. He is just beating these guys off one by one. So it's like, as if you thought Retribution could not be made to look any more weak and pathetic than they were on Monday night. WWE says, hold my beer. We've got something else in mind here. And look, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done that. In fact, I think that they did exactly what they should have done. Slapdick should not be beating Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley has been made to be this dominant force, right? He's got a championship. These guys should not be beating up Bobby Lashley. So I don't have any problem with it. I just thought that was hilarious, though. So down comes the Hurt Business, even though, again, he didn't need them. But down comes the Hurt Business. And Mustafa Ali, he bails. He's all scared. This guy's supposed to be the leader of the faction. He's all scared. He's all concerned. So he bails out of the ring. And for the second time in less than a week, it hasn't even been a full week since Raw last Monday night when they got beaten and T-Bag tapped out. Here they are yet again on pay-per-view made to look like scrubs. And that's what they are. I don't see why anybody would have any reason to be upset about this. This is exactly, these guys have been a joke from day one. Day one. They have been a joke. And that's how they got treated here. Retribution is a lost cause. And it pains me to say that just because of Mustafa Ali. He just got put with this group. The forces seem to be working against this guy. We'll see how the story plays out. That's always the go-to excuse. Let the story play. Okay, I'm going to let the story play out. I'm just telling you. I'm calling it like I see it. Up to this point, Retribution's been around now. How many months? When did they first show up on TV? July? June? Somewhere around there? June, I think it was. They're a fucking joke. And I only hope that Ali can come out of this with a decent spot on the roster. I think it would just be best to drop the whole thing. WWE has shown at times in the past that they can recognize when it's time to just cut bait and move on. They gave fake Kane. Remember when Luke Gallows debuted as fake Kane? We had Kane versus Kane at like Vengeance or whatever that pay-per-view was. That was a one-day thing. And the next night, Kane literally threw him out of the building on TV. He unmasked him, I think, and he threw him out of the building because they realized that this sucked and this just isn't working. And I can only hope that they do the same thing here. Just cut bait and move. Cut your losses and move on. They ended Raw Underground, and it's about time I think they do the same with Retribution. And let's come up with something different for these guys. I want to see these guys succeed. I don't want to see them lose their jobs. I don't want to see them just get demoted without any other plan in mind. But my God, you're not doing these guys any favors. You're not doing Mia Yim any favors. So just end it. Main event was Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton inside Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre made his entrance first, which I thought was kind of odd. Why would the champion be entering first? But then it very quickly became obvious why they decided to do it this way. We soon found out why. Randy Orton was dressed like a ninja. He was dressed like a cameraman, all black. He was standing behind Drew before Drew could come into the cell. Drew kind of sensed that something was off. So Randy's plan of attack didn't exactly kind of work. That's not really the story here, though. I think the real story is that Randy Orton was wearing pants. How often do you see Randy Orton on TV wearing pants? It's weird. I didn't know that this guy was even capable of it. He probably should have kept them on, but the pants came off. He was in his gear. Drew went for a Claymore early on. Orton hit him with a chair, and that is when he began to work over Drew, and it kind of dragged, and it dragged, and it dragged, driving the chair down into his previously fractured jaw. Orton proceeded to spend the next several minutes torturing McIntyre on the outside, and he was torturing him with the ring steps. It gets tiring when, I talked about the kendo stick stuff. in the women's match a few minutes ago, but even watching this, I mean, it gets tired when they're all using the same toys from the toy chest in every single match. The steps, the chairs, the kendo sticks. All right, we get it. We get it. I don't like having 3 Hell in a Cell matches on one show, and this is part of the reason why. You want to do 1 men's Hell in a Cell and 1 women's Hell in a Cell? I get that. That works. You have 1 men's Royal Rumble match. You have a men's Money in the Bank match. You have a women's Royal Rumble match. You have a women's Money in the Bank match. All of that makes sense. We didn't need to have 3 Hell in a Cell matches on this show. Honestly, when I look back at what they did tonight, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso did not need to be in Hell in a Cell. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso could have been an I Quit match without the use of the cell. Jimmy Uso ran down. He got involved again. The door happened to be open. What was the point of even having the cell? I don't think that had to be a Hell in a Cell match. I think you want to have 2 on the show at the most. I don't think you need 3. 3 is overkill. But they're all using the same objects and the same weapons, and it just gets very old. So back inside, Drew makes a comeback. Orton bailed out to the floor. Randy Orton had, earlier in the match, set a table up outside the ring. And they make their way outside, and Drew catches Orton and gives him a belly-to-belly suplex, overhead suplex, and Randy crashes through the table that he had set up earlier on. That is when we got fake, piped-in chants of "This is awesome." I don't know what WWE was doing on TV this week with the crowd noise, but it was very distracting. These stupid fake chants, like, I'm fine with having the noise track in the background so we have some noise. When I hear these fake "This is awesome" chants, a little while later we had fake piped in "holy shit" chants. Come on. It's totally lame. We don't need that. I don't think we need the fake chants. You want to put the constant crowd noise in the background, fine. We could do without these dumb chants. Orton hits a draping DDT. McIntyre kicks out of 1. Orton finds a pair of bolt cutters underneath the ring. He cuts the lock to the door, and he leaves the cell. Everyone's leaving the cell. They're coming into the cell in the opening match. They're coming out of the cell in the main event. What is the point? Just leave the door open. If they want to come out, let them out. And if they want to wrestle inside the cage, let them wrestle inside the cage. Why even bother locking them in? I guess he planted them there. I was going to say, why have bolt cutters in the cage? It's like if you arrest somebody and you put him in jail, well, we'll just leave the key in the cell. It's stupid. It's dumb. But I guess the story is that Orton planted them there just like he planted a little weapon on top of the cage, which I'll get to here in a second. But Randy, he's hurting. He's had enough. He starts to leave. Drew chases him out of the cell, knocks him down, and Orton throws him into the side of the cage face first. And then Orton looks up. Orton looks up. You knew where this was headed. You knew they weren't going to have 3 Hell in a Cell matches on one show and not have a match where somebody eventually climbed up to the top of the cage. So Orton begins his ascent. He begins to climb. And let me tell you, that is a tall cage, okay? That cage, I don't know exactly how tall it is. I know the original Hell in a Cell, going back many, many years ago, the original Hell in a Cell was, I think, 16 feet is what the original cell was. This one's got to be every bit of, I don't know, 20 feet, 20 to 22 feet. It's tall. It's like unnecessarily tall. So he climbs up to the very top and he's taunting Drew. He wants Drew to follow him on up. So, of course, Drew McIntyre obliges and he goes and starts climbing. Drew was on Busted Open Radio, I think, last week, and he was talking about Hell in a Cell. Now, he had never been in a Hell in a Cell match before. The only time that he had ever done anything with Hell in a Cell, I think it was him and Ziggler when they were a tag team, had interfered. It might have been in that match, actually, with Roman and Strowman a couple of years ago. They had interfered, and I think maybe they ended up on top of the cage. And he mentioned the scariest part was not the climb up. It's not that slow climb up. He goes, it was trying to climb down because you have to turn your back and start to go down. And he said he found that to be the scariest part of all. I don't know. I think both would scare the crap out of me. I'm afraid of heights anyway. Halfway up the cage, I'd probably just pass out and fall to the ground, fall to my death. But Orton had a plan. Orton invited him up on top of that cell for a reason. He stored a weapon up top. It was, we were told it was a pipe. I don't know. To me, it looked like a fucking lightsaber or a cattle prod or something, but I guess the go-to thing, if you have a cylindrical object and you don't know exactly what it is, you just call it a pipe, right? If there's some kind of phallic object that the guy is grabbing onto, you call it a pipe. So that's what Orton was doing up top, I guess. He was laying pipe. So he took a swing at Drew. Drew dodges it, takes down Orton, but Orton hits him with it. I think he hit him in the knee. Orton begins to climb down. And I'm like, well, what was the point of going on top of the cell? That was the whole point? I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird to me. But now he's climbing down, and Drew is climbing down after him. So now they're on the side of the cell. They're on the side panel of the cell, on the side where the announcers are. I mean, you could see this coming from a mile away. We see this every year. Orton smacks McIntyre's hand, and Drew McIntyre loses his grip, and he comes crashing down through the announce desk. And I think the production, they missed the table spot. Now, they gave us a whole bunch of replays, which was great, but I think the first time they missed the actual table spot. And this is where they piped in the fake holy shit chants. So Drew now has blood coming from his mouth. He's a mess. He's got blood coming out of his mouth. Dr. Tom Phillips is talking about the fact that it looks as if he probably has internal injuries. Thank you for the medical report, Tom. I appreciate it. Drew slowly crawls back into the cell. Orton sets up for the RKO. Drew goes for the backslide, which is the same move he used to beat Orton at SummerSlam, so I like that little callback. Orton rolls through this time, and Drew connects with a Claymore kick. Can't follow up. Can't follow up. He's bleeding. He's hurt. And I think Orton rolled out to the floor. So Drew has to now go outside. He's got to drag Orton back in. And he sets up for another Claymore. Orton, though, when he comes in, Orton ducks it. He just drops down to the mat. Drew goes flying. He misses the kick. And when he gets up, he turns around right into an RKO. One RKO is enough to win the match for Randy Orton. And Randy Orton becomes a 14-time world champion, tying Triple H for the second most number of world titles or WWE titles in history. Second only to John Cena, who has 16. So third time's a charm for Randy Orton. It only took 3 matches to do it. I mean, look, if you keep feeding me title shots, I'm eventually going to win too. So Randy Orton finally pulled it off. I thought the match was good. I didn't think it was great. It really did. I mean, I thought for a good part of the match, I thought it was very dull, honestly. It was really dragging for me a lot in that first half. And being that they ended with a clean win for Orton, and there was no cash-in attempt, no big surprise or anything like that, now that we can look back on the end of the show, there was no reason for this match to go on last, other than the fact that they wanted that fall off the side of the cage, the big spot, to be the big spot of the night. Because Sasha and Bayley were not going up to the top of the cage. I mean, they would have died. So they weren't going to the top of the cage. And that's the only reason I think they wanted this match to go on last. And I just think that's completely stupid. I think that women's match, as long as that story has been built up for, and they actually did move the title off of Bayley, and I thought that was the best match on the show. That should have closed out the show. But the 2 matches that I was most looking forward to coming in were the 2 Smackdown title matches, the Universal Championship and the Women's Championship with Sasha and Bayley, and both those matches delivered. And to me, that makes this a thumbs-up show. Now, I would not have changed the title in the main event. I would not have taken the title off of Drew McIntyre. I'm not going to say it was a mistake. It's just not something I would have done. I think Drew is having a strong reign. I talked about him on the podcast earlier today. I don't think he deserves a lot of the blame, as bad as Raw can be on most weeks. I don't agree at all using him as a scapegoat. I think he's done a very good job as the champion. I think eventually he'll get the belt back. maybe at WrestleMania. Maybe they're going to do the slow chase for him now back to the championship. I hope he gets it back. I hope this wasn't, hey, good pat on the shoulder, good job, kid. You done good, but you had your time, now move along. Because I just think that would be very unfair. So I think he had a good run. But I look ahead now. Okay, Randy Orton is the champion. Now, there may be a rematch next month with Drew McIntyre. Drew might just get the belt back. He might have the rematch with Randy Orton. I don't see why he wouldn't, because Orton got 3 matches. So why does Randy Orton get 3 matches and Drew McIntyre gets none? So obviously there's going to be a rematch. If Randy Orton were to hold on to the title, there's a few names that they can program him with. Now, over the next few months, Keith Lee being the first name that comes to mind, Keith Lee has a pay-per-view pinfall win over Randy Orton at Payback. So he has proven that he can beat this guy. He's got a win over him. There you go. Once he's done with this, whatever's going on, this little mini feud with Braun Strowman, if the idea is that he'll beat Strowman, then the next logical challenger for the title would be Keith Lee. But now you've got Matt Riddle on Monday Night Raw. If you're looking for baby faces, you've got Matt Riddle, who's never wrestled Randy Orton before. Riddle has to be built up. I mean, Riddle does not deserve a championship match. He's done nothing to deserve one, but you could build him up. Jeff Hardy, we've already seen Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy a bunch of times, but you could build up Jeff. But then there's the obvious answer, which is Edge. And there was a rumor many months ago that WWE was planning to, assuming that Edge comes back on schedule from his injury, have Edge come back, and when he challenges Randy Orton, presumably at WrestleMania, it would be for the championship. I don't think that match needs to be for the championship. I don't want to see that match contested for the championship. And so I hope that's not the plan. You could do Orton Edge 3. It does not have to be for a title. So I hope that's not the idea behind what they did tonight. But this was a thumbs up show. There were definitely some strong matches on the show tonight. And like I said, the match I was looking most forward to, the two of them, they came through. So what did you guys think? Let's take a look. This is the Insta poll on my Twitter at Solomonster. You can vote right now, thumbs up or thumbs down. Positive score. 72.7% thumbs up, 27.3% thumbs down. So everybody, the consensus seems to be that this was a very good show. I would agree. On a 1 to 10 scale, I'd probably go 7-ish. Yeah, I'd probably go, I'd probably go 6, I guess 7-ish. 6.5, 7-ish on the show. I think that's a fair score. Right? Don't you? Don't you think that's fair? I think that's fair. So what we're going to do here now, we are going to get ready to do the contest. For those people who are wondering what I'm talking about, Wrestle Rumble is once again allowing me to play host to the Killer Belt giveaway. We're going to be picking 4 winners here in just a second. We're going to be giving away a bunch of championships, some custom Jason Voorhees masks. We had somewhere in the range of 2,400 entries this month. So a lot of people wanted in on this contest. And I want to thank WrestleRumble.com for allowing me the opportunity to host yet another contest, which I always enjoy doing. So what I'm going to do here, the way this works, and actually what I probably should do before we even begin is just exactly spell out the prizes here. So what we'll do is we'll start and we will plug this list of names in. I'm picking random winners, and you're going to see it on your screen. I use the website random.org. We're going to start with the 4th place winner, and we'll work our way backwards, all the way to the 1st place winner. I'm going to pick a number, and when the list is generated, whatever name is in the spot of that number is going to be the winner. 4th place is going to get 2 mystery belts. You see it on your screen. 3rd place is going to get the Jeff Hardy TNA Championship belt replica. 2nd place gets the Fiend Championship. That belt was $6,500 only a few months ago. It ain't $6,500 no more. But you can get it for free here if you win and come in second place. And you get a custom Jason Voorhees mask from Friday the 13th, Part 4. And then the first place winner gets the WWE Hardcore Championship and a custom Jason mask from Friday the 13th, Part 3. Part 3. Yes, Part 3 is the movie where he got the mask. So I'm going to plug the list of names in right now. And so you guys can just follow along on screen. And you'll see that I paste these names in. Now, all the names that you see, I will scroll a little bit here so you can see. There's a whole bunch of names on this list. And you might see double entries because some people bought multiple entries. And so here's how this will work. Today is, well, you know what? Let's do this. How about we do this? Halloween is coming up, right? October 31st is Halloween. We're going to go with number 31. So I'm going to generate the randomized list. Whoever is in the number 31 spot, it's going to be a numbered list. You are going to be the fourth place winner. So let's go ahead and get this party started here. Do a little drum roll and we'll see who the fourth place winner is going to be. This is always my favorite part. And the fourth place winner, person in the number, well, of course it's cut off, so I'll have to scroll up a little bit here, but there we go. Number 31 is Joseph McGee. Joseph McGee, you are the fourth place winner. That means you get 2 mystery belts that are going to be sent out to you. So congrats to Mr. Magoo, or Mr. McGee, Mr. Magoo. Oh my goodness. There's an old reference for you. Yes, Mr. Magoo. No, Mr. McGee is the fourth place winner. Let me see if I can go back here. Easiest thing to do is hit the again button. And it's very simple. I'm going to hit again. The list is going to randomize yet again. And we're going to do the same thing. Third place winner gets the Jeff Hardy TNA Championship belt replica. So good luck. Good luck to everybody listening. The third place Jeff Hardy title belt winner is... Let's see, number 31 here is Darren Broche. Darren Broche, you are the third place winner. You get the old Jeff Hardy TNA Championship replica. I was never, at first I wasn't really a huge fan of that belt. Over time, I've kind of grown to like that belt. It's not my favorite of all the TNA designs, but having seen the replica, it actually looks pretty badass. I will say that. So now we move on to second place. This is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets interesting. The second place winner is going to get the Fiend Championship belt and that custom Jason mask from Friday the 13th. Was a part 4, I believe. Right down to the axe, to the skull. You'll have that little... It's a custom made mask. I've seen the pictures of it. It's just fucking cool as shit. So here we go. Drum roll, please. Second place winner. I love that we get to pick 4 winners this month. Second place winner in the contest is Donovan Marshall. Donovan Marshall, you have the Fiend Championship belt. And see, it didn't even cost you $6,500. You're the winner of the Fiend belt and the custom Jason Voorhees mask from part 4. And now we get to the grand salami here. We get to the number 1 first place winner in the Wrestle Rumble contest. This person is going to win a Hardcore Championship replica. This is going to be a Hardcore title. So the Hardcore title replica? Yeah. And the Friday the 13th Part 3. That's what it is. The Friday the 13th Part 3 mask. That is the custom mask. So before we pick the first place winner, again, I want to just say thank you to everybody who participated here in this contest. You guys are awesome for all of your support every month. I know Wrestle Rumble really appreciates it as well. And let's pick this first place winner here. I want to pick a winner. That's what I want to pick. So here we go. Let's go ahead And let's do that. Actually, let me. I want to randomize this list here. Just give me a second. Got to build some drama here for this first place winner. I got to just put the list in one more time. So bear with me here for a moment. Bear with me here for just a second. We got to randomize this bad boy one more time. All right, here we go. So back to the website we go again. We got one winner left to pick. We got one winner left. And again, this is going to be the first place winner of the contest. You get the belt, you get the mask. That's how this works. Totally random. As you can see, paste all the names in here. There they are. And let's get that drum roll going. Here we go. Let's pick a winner. First place winner in the contest is... Who do we got here? There it is. Cody O'Leary, you are the number one first place winner here in the contest. Cody O'Leary, you get the Hardcore Championship replica and the custom Friday the 13th mask from the third movie. It's kind of a custom-made replica of the mask from the third movie. Congratulations. Again, Wrestle Rumble is going to be in touch. He's going to be in contact with all of the winners. And your belts are going to get shipped out right away. Your belts are going to be shipped out probably as soon as tomorrow. You won't have to wait very long. So you'll be getting your prizes, your hardware, all that good stuff. So that'll be coming to all of you. Saki Tumble in the chat. Is that true? Did you win? Is that Cody that I see in the chat there? Saki is very excited. I don't know if that's Cody or if that's one of the other winners, but he seems very excited. Anyway, congratulations. Saki, if you really did win, I'm happy for you, brother. Congratulations. I love seeing that. So I mentioned that I'm going to have an announcement about the new contest, right? So we should probably get to that. We do have another contest that's going to be coming up in the month of November. And I am pleased to announce that that contest is going to be the When Worlds Collide contest. For just $1, we're going to be picking 4 winners again next month. And take a look at those prizes. Look at that. 4th place wins the NWA Championship replica. 3rd place is the ECW title replica. 2nd place is the original NXT Championship with the giant X in the middle. That's the belt that Adrian Neville and Bo Dallas and all of those guys held. And the 1st place winner is the AEW Championship belt. And this AEW title, I've been told, this thing is a monster. Triple stack 4mm plates with 24 karat gold plating on a real leather strap. This thing is a beast. It's something like 13 or 14 pounds. This thing is gigantic. And I'm going to be picking the winner on my Survivor Series stream live on YouTube November 22nd. So get those entries in. You can buy as many of them as you want. It's only $1 to enter. Just go to WrestleRumble.com. And again, it's not a Solomonster contest. I'm just doing the drawing and helping out with some of the promotion. This is all Wrestle Rumble. They put the work in. They put all these ideas and concepts together. I love what they did with the Halloween theme this month. So show them some love. It's always fun to work with them. They do great stuff. And thank you again for allowing me to host. I really appreciate that. Again, vote in the Twitter poll if you have not already done so. People so far have voted very positively for the pay-per-view tonight. People seem to really enjoy it, as I did. I thought that WWE on the whole put on a thumbs-up show tonight, and the key matches delivered. I didn't think much of them waiting until the last minute to, try to fill the card out. I think it was kind of lame, frankly, that they only had 3 or 4 matches announced in advance, but the key matches delivered. Again, I promised everybody I would get to all your super chats. I am going to read all the ones I haven't gotten to. We're going to do that now. And if you want to get more in, now is the time to do so. So if you want to support the stream, you want to send a question in or a comment, what'd you think of the show tonight? Go ahead. They'll pop up on screen and I'll read them here. Ace Stewart is happy that Randy Orton won tonight. He deserved it. McIntyre was a great champion. Looking forward to what is next. Tenorio just recently saw that Back to the Future. Oh, he saw Back to the Future for the first time. What the hell were you waiting for? Back to the Future is a classic. Back to the Future Part 2, I think, is the best of the series. Saki Tumble is the one who mentioned earlier that Afa is 77 years old, so I thank you for that. Dop Dop said he loved the story of Roman and Jay's Hell in a Cell match and the brutality of Sasha and Bayley. Roman and Jay had one of the best WWE matches of the year. Hard to argue with that. Jay Knight, 1984. Even though, let's see here, it's a WWE-centric show. Do you think that the I Quit match at Full Gear will be more compelling than this one tonight in Hell in a Cell? I think it'll be compelling in its own way. I don't really want to compare the two. It's two totally different stories. It may not be. It may not be as compelling, but until we actually see it, we just don't know. Joe Olivo, I'm glad Miz won over Otis tonight. Otis should never have won the briefcase to begin with. Garrus Vicarian says, Otis experiences bugged Money in the Bank mechanics. Okay. Natural Born Thriller, keep up the good work. Thank you, I appreciate that. Pedro, only time will tell where they go from here with Sasha. In 3 or 4 weeks, will Bayley be champion again? Sasha has faced every other horsewoman in the cell. Well, I said if she would have lost tonight to Bayley, she would have been a clean sweep of losses for her. She would have gone 0 for 3 against all of her fellow horsewomen. So she needed this win tonight, and she got it. 561 Mexico. Rocky 5 ain't that bad of a movie. That's like saying Halloween 3 is the worst movie of all time. It's just those who did not see it just saying it's bad because everyone else says so. I stand by that. Well, I saw the movie, and I didn't think it was that great. So what do you have to say about that? I saw the movie. I didn't just hear that it was bad. I watched it for myself. I didn't think it matched up to the other movies. And actually, I thought that the Rocky, not really reboot, but sequel that came out many, many years later, I thought it was much better than Part 5. I thought that was actually a very good movie. Jordan, what's going on, Jordan? D. Paola. So Survivor Series, we get Asuka against Sasha against Io. Well, that depends. I mean, if they're going to do Raw versus SmackDown, then possibly, I don't know if they're going to include NXT in that again. They did last year, but then NXT wasn't part of the draft, which didn't make any sense. So I'm not sure if we're going to get Raw, SmackDown, and NXT battling it out again. That might have just been a one-year thing. I don't know. Rizzo says beating all the guys. Yeah, I realized after I said it about, but that's what he did. It's basically what Lashley did. He beat them off one by one. He picked them off one. It was better if I say pick them off. They picked them off one by one. I think I made a comment on the show once. I think I was talking about the Mankind Undertaker Hell in a Cell match on one of the podcasts. And I think I made the comment that Undertaker tossed off Mankind, right? He tossed Mankind off the top of the cell. And I got so many emails from people who live like in the UK telling me, Solomonster, you don't realize what that means on this side of the pond. And they had to kind of explain to me. And I said, well, see, here people don't think twice about that, but I guess it has a very different meaning in other countries. So I'm gonna end up saying something that I probably shouldn't say no matter what I say. So I just say it. Domination Warrior. Yano is better than Retribution. Buy or sell. Yano is better than Retribution. Yano should not be in the same sentence as Retribution. Marcus Metcalf. Sasha almost completed a Grand Slam championship this year. She won the Raw, SmackDown, and Tag Team titles, but she lost the NXT title match to Io at the Great American Bash. It's a very good point. T-Mac. Just started your stream and heard you comment on AEW pay-per-views. If you have a VPN, set it to a European location, and you can pay for AEW pay-per-views for $20 on Fight TV. Yeah, I've heard, I know a lot of people do go the VPN route, and if anybody wants to go the VPN route, cheap plug, we have a link to ExpressVPN. If you want to sign up for a VPN, use our link, expressvpn.com/Solomonster. You can get 3 months free on top of your 1-year subscription. There you go. See, I'm always looking out for you. Tony Havoc did not watch, but I appreciate the review. Jordan again. How do I change my sound off nickname? Well, if you ever do want to change it, just drop me an email to answer your question. But I guess you were joking around there. And Ace Stewart. I've been listening since 2012. I enjoy all of your content. Thank you for all that you do on a daily basis. Much respect. Well, my thanks to you for sticking with me for so long. I'm very excited because in 2 weeks, it's going to be the 13-year anniversary of the Sound Off. Started this podcast in November of 2007, the audio podcast, and we've been rocking it, man. We've been killing it for 13 years, and it's been a fun ride. So I'm glad that a lot of you can join me for that ride. And on that subject, Sound Off 675, the latest Sound Off, went up earlier this afternoon. Talked about a lot more than just Hell in a Cell. We talked about a whole bunch of different things. Giant history segment on the show this week. So many things happened this past week. Great stuff, like the snake bite angle with the Macho Man and Jake the Snake. And then absolutely horrible stuff. Hayabusa being paralyzed. The Katie Vick angle on Monday Night Raw. So we got into all of that on the podcast earlier. So check that out if you have not already done so. All those platform logos you see on the bottom. You can download the show so many different ways. So I hope you will consider doing so. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed this review. That was Hell in a Cell tonight. Overall thumbs up show. And hopefully all the winners will be notified. All the winners will be getting their prizes and their belts from Wrestle Rumble very soon. And when you do, tweet me a photo. Send me a photo on Twitter so I can retweet you. I can see everybody with their masks and their championship replicas. I love seeing that stuff. Oh, we got a late super chat. I think you guys are trying to keep me around. Trying to keep me around a little bit longer. That's okay with me. If there's more super chats coming in, I'll stick around. We got James Hollins. Buy or sell, dives or kendo sticks? Oh my goodness. Dives or, well, I'll say kendo sticks. I'll buy on kendo sticks just because people won't break their fucking neck using a kendo stick. So I'll buy on that. And Tenorio, have you ever watched The Unforgiven? You know, I have not. I have not. That's the one with Clint Eastwood, right? No, I did. I've seen Tombstone. Tombstone I saw. I don't think I've ever seen The Unforgiven. If that's what you're talking about. I don't believe I've ever seen The Unforgiven. I might have to add that to my list, though. I have a whole watch list of stuff I have to catch up with, like movies and TV shows and stuff. So I'll have to put that on the list. Theo Johnson with the $5 drop. Thank you, Theo. Appreciate it. I'm a big fan of Zelina Vega as a manager. Do you see her with a top guy such as Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, or Aleister Black in winning the WWE title? Do I see Zelina Vega winning the WWE? It's a very oddly worded question. I assume you mean the person that she manages. No, I don't see her with, I don't know why she would be with Roman or Lesnar. Aleister, I could see it. You know, they are married, so maybe at some point they bring them together on TV. That I could see, but the other people, I don't really see what the need would be. I mean, I like her in the manager role. I think that honestly is the role that she should be in, not so much in the ring. But Zelina Vega with Brock Lesnar? What an odd pairing that would be. That would be very strange. But then again, I would have said that about The Fiend and Alexa Bliss 6 months ago. And that's been one of the more interesting stories on TV. Leather Rebel. Buy or sell, Leatherface or Freddie? You know, Leatherface and Freddie, again, not two franchises I'm really that big of a fan of. I'm more of a Jason and Michael guy. I mean, I got the Michael shirt on here. But I mean, I guess of the two, I'd go with Freddie, I guess. I've never really been a Nightmare on Elm Street guy. I've seen some of the movies, but not really a fan of either one of them. Or Pinhead or Candyman. I'm very picky. Turtlehead, it's going to be Randy against Cena for number 7. Oh my God, don't even joke about that. Don't you even think about joking about that. I know it's been a while since they've had a match, but it hasn't been long enough. You got to wait at least another 5 years. Wait until they're 50. Then you can do the match again. Dry chicken without flavor. Hi, Solomonster. I will see you on Wednesday night. Yes, I'll be back again on Wednesday, too. Wednesday night, AEW is going to have the next matches in the Eliminator Tournament. Kenny Omega against Penta, because Phoenix is out with an injury. Well, he's out as a precaution. And I guess also Wardlow taking on Hangman Page. So those are the 2 big matches coming up on Dynamite this Wednesday. And I'll be here. I'll be here live after Dynamite goes off the air. Probably going to be reviewing that instead of Halloween Havoc. I may save the Halloween Havoc for next Sunday. So, Jamin John has a late super chat coming in. Have you seen the new... Should be popping up. Here we go. Have you seen the new Rambo MK11 gameplay on YouTube? No, I have not. If it's worth seeing, tweet it to me. I'd like to check that out. I have not seen that. So go ahead and check that over to me. I'll take a look at that. PlayStation 5 is coming out, I believe, in a few weeks. I only know that because my brother has already pre-ordered. He has reserved his copy or his unit, whatever, console. He's the gamer. He has PS4. Now he's getting to PS5. He's all excited. So I know gaming-wise, that's coming up in a few weeks, and everybody's going to be playing their PS5 games. I assume PS5 has backwards compatibility with all the old games. I hope. That would be pretty shitty if it didn't. All right, I think we're all caught up now. Turtlehead. Turtlehead in the chat, holding down the fort. Sean Turner, I see you, Sean. Got to shout out all my usuals in the chat. I got to say hello to all you guys. KC, what's going on, KC? I love you, KC. I see KC every week. We got Semi-Awesome Gil dropping $5 on the stream. I think NXT's Sanity would have been much better than Retribution in today's storyline. What do you think? I never saw Sanity. I'll be honest with you. I just never saw Sanity as being a big deal. I think they definitely got jobbed out when they got called up to SmackDown. Those guys got a Raw deal. But I never saw Sanity as being a big deal even when they were in NXT. You know, they had one really kind of standout performance in one of the War Games matches. And that was it. I was never really a big Sanity fan. So I think if they were plugged into the same spot that Retribution was in, I think it would have died a death. Maybe not as much, just because they don't have the goofy masks and the goofy names and everything, but I don't think it would have been that much more successful, honestly. Let's see, James Hollins with the 10. Paul Heyman has the most influence. He made CM Punk think that he's the best in the world. Lesnar thinks he's a beast. And Roman Reigns thinks he's the tribal chief. What say you? Paul Heyman is making a case because he's not even done yet. And I say this as the biggest Bobby Heenan fan in the world. Bobby Heenan is the greatest manager there ever was. Paul Heyman is making a case for number 2 and possibly one day number 1. But Bobby was just an old school guy, and he was the quintessential manager, though. And I feel like Bobby early on was probably also handling some of the managerial duties for some of his guys. I don't think that's something that really happens anymore. Being a manager just meant more back then than it does today. But when all is said and done, Heyman, who knows? Heyman may end up going down in the number 1 spot. I just can't put him there right now. But you can't deny the success that he's had. There's a reason they put Paul Heyman with their top guys. Like Punk and like Brock. And now with Roman Reigns. You know, Bobby Heenan, you know, the combo with him and Nick Bockwinkel was tremendous in the AWA. And then he had a couple of top guys like Andre and Orndorff, I think, for a while, right? But I think Heyman might have him beat as far as all of the top guys in his stable. Don't forget the Dangerous Alliance either. in WCW, Rick Rude and all of those guys. Well, we got a whole bunch of them coming in now. I gotta play catch up here. Zombified Guitarist. I'm catching up on the podcast from 6 months ago, he says. Pretty entertaining. Well, boy, you got a lot of catching up to do. That's all I'll say. Derek Jackson. I'll be damned if I see Orton versus Cena ever again. Thank you, Derek. Thank you. You and I are on the same wavelength here. We're in agreement. And just Jared from Brooklyn. If Anna Jay was your Halloween date, what would you like for her to wear for her Halloween costume? Anything she wants. Anything she wants would be fine with me. I'm going to keep it classy here on the stream. She could just wear her Dark Order gear. She's already in a Halloween faction. So whatever she wears in the Dark Order, well, they have black leather in the Dark Order, right? So there you go. It's fine with me. Like I said, I'm not a picky guy. Lou Rivera says beating these guys off all on his own. Hey, what can I say? I don't need to be seeing it, but Bobby Lashley can do whatever he wants behind closed doors. If Bobby Lashley wants to go and beat off Retribution, I'm sure there's some website that would be willing to pay for it and could sell the whole movie. That's their thing. I don't want any credit for that. I don't want to have anything to do with that. Corbin Krang. One of my favorite super chats, Corbin Krang. Silver Rules, thank you for all your hard work in the chat tonight. I do want to shout out all the mods. They've been holding down the fort all night long. I don't know if is Tamara here? We usually have Tamara. We've got CJ. I don't know if anybody else is here with Silver Rules, but yeah, I do want to say thank you to him. Zombified Guitarist says Anna Jay as a slice of pizza. I can't eat pizza. Just FYI. I used to be able to, but I can't anymore. So that don't really work for me. And no pineapple on your pizza either. You freaking freak. I've made it very clear. We've talked about a lot of things in recent months on this podcast. The pineapple on pizza is very unacceptable. Medium well steak is the way to go. If you want to use ketchup, by all means, go ahead and use ketchup. People have a lot of very varied opinions on these things. I got to lay down the law sometimes to let people know how it is. This is how the real world works. Yes. Junior Jackson says Asuka is the best Japanese wrestler in WWE. Well, they don't have too many of them right now, so I'm not going to disagree with you. Asuka is fantastic. All right, again, thank you for all of your super chats and all of your support. And I'm going to be joining you live on Wednesday night. I hope you'll join me 10 p.m. as soon as Dynamite goes off the air. It'll be our little Halloween stream. I hope you enjoyed the new Halloween intro tonight, too. Maybe I'll play it again. I think I might play it again when we leave here. I enjoyed that. I've had that in my back pocket for about 4 months. I've been dying to use it, but I had to wait until this week. So I think I'll use it again here before we end the stream. In case you missed it at the beginning, I'll run it again here in a second. Sean Turner, I'm upset on what they did to Money in the Bank. Besides Brock, there has not been a cash-in. They should just get rid of it forever. Well, look, I mean, Money in the Bank, it doesn't mean what it used to mean. A lot of things don't mean what they used to mean. Hell in a Cell really doesn't mean what it used to mean. This is unfortunately what happens over time. I wouldn't say get rid of the concept. I still think that the concept is very good. I wouldn't get rid of it completely, but they just have to do a better job of handling it. Chad in the chat, do you eat pig? All the time. Although it's been a while since I've had a ham sandwich, but yes. Yes, I do. Bacon, all that good stuff. That I do not discriminate against that. See, J-Dub in the chat. Ketchup on steak. I might try that next time. You go ahead and do that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use steak sauce. I use steak sauce too, but ketchup from time to time, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with dipping some of that steak in that ketchup. Nothing wrong with that at all. Coal Miner's glove match or a Yappa Pie Indian strap match. Got to go with the Yappa Pie. or as a lot of people thought Hulk Hogan said when he cut that promo, the apple pie Indian strap match. See, I like that better. All this talk about food. All this talk about food. We'll go with the apple pie Indian strap match. Ken terminated. What's going on, Ken? Bacon on pizza. Okay, this is getting out of control now. All right, I'm out of here. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for the support. I'll see you again on Wednesday night, and I will see you next Sunday for episode 676 of the Solomonster Sounds Off. Until then, take care, guys.